Women are pathetic snowflakes that need to be constantly coddled by society lest their precious feelings get hurt. Or at least that's the opinion of Nottinghamshire police, who have now decided to label misogyny a hate crime. It was only a matter of time, wasn't it? Women weren't going to be left out of the hate crime Olympics, so now we have the situation that all the feminazis and self-hating SJWs have always wanted, where everything is a hate crime unless it's done to a white male.
You're fucking a white male! So? You're a white man!
But I'm sure this new law won't be abused by hysterical feminists that see misogyny around every corner. Anyway, let's dive into this abortion, shall we? From the BBC, harassment of women is to be recorded as a hate crime in a bid to tackle sexist abuse. Nottinghamshire Police said it would expand its categories to include misogynistic incidents. It means abuse or harassment which might not be a crime can be reported to and investigated by the police and support for the victim put in place. Nottingham Women's Centre said it hopes it will give more victims the courage to report incidents. Melanie Jeffs, Centre Manager at Nottingham Women's Centre, said, "We're pleased to see Nottinghamshire Police recognise the breadth of violence and intimidation that women experience on a daily basis in our communities." Now let's take a moment to have a look at Melanie Jeffs. You would never have guessed it. Feminist, photographer, football fan, probably some other Fs as well. Well, you forgot to add comedian, Melanie. Come to think of it, has there ever been a funny feminist, or is that just an oxymoron at this point? And here's a photo. I mean, could you be more of a cliche? You are a parody of yourself, literally. But you see the real problem here. It creates its own vicious cycle where women come forward to report misogyny, and so you get an increase in reports of misogyny, which then frightens women even more and calls for even more draconian laws, to the point that saying hello to the wrong woman at the wrong time will eventually be considered misogynistic. Or are we at that point already? Quote, Chief Constable Sue Fish. Now, let's have a look at Sue Fish, shall we? And yep, she's another stunner. Sue Fish claimed it will make the county a safer place for women. What women face, often on a daily basis, is absolutely unacceptable and can be extremely distressing, she said. Nottinghamshire Police is committed to taking misogynistic hate crimes seriously and encourages anyone who is affected by it to contact us without hesitation. Notice how vague this is? Let's put aside the fact that men are more likely to be victims of actual violence. What are you talking about here? Does this make catcalling illegal now? How about the dreaded male gaze? Well, fortunately, they give us a definition. Quote, violence and intimidation. The force defines misogyny hate crime as incidents against women that are motivated by an attitude of a man towards a woman and includes behaviour targeted towards a woman by men simply because they are a woman. Well, I don't know about you, but that sure cleared it up for me. So from this definition, are we to understand that misogyny can only happen if it comes from a man? So does this mean that internalized misogyny, you know, that thing that all women who aren't feminists suffer from, does that not actually exist anymore? Well, for more clarification, let's go to the actual press release on the Nottinghamshire Police website, where they give a few details about what constitutes a potential misogynistic hate crime. Quote, examples of this may include unwanted or uninvited sexual advances, physical or verbal assault, unwanted or uninvited physical or verbal contact or engagement, use of mobile devices to send unwanted or uninvited messages, or take photographs without consent or permission. So this literally means if you say hi to a complete stranger that happens to be a woman and she feels that it's an uninvited or unwanted contact or engagement, you've now committed a hate crime. I mean, you've got to give it to the feminazis. They've been able to now make it a hate crime just to talk to a woman. Why don't they just come straight out and make it illegal to be a man? Wouldn't that be easier? Just make it illegal to be a male in public. Now, as absurd as this is, a bigger problem is the notion of hate crimes themselves. If you assault someone who happens to be gay, then it's not necessarily a hate crime. But if you deliberately target a gay person for assault because they're gay, then you have a hate crime. But why do you need hate crimes? Assault is assault, regardless of the motivation. It doesn't make it any worse because you hate gays. Well, of course, it's just another attempt by cultural authoritarians to protect groups or communities that they deem to be special victims. And through the magic of law, they think they can legislate away bigotry. Unfortunately, though, it just doesn't work that way. But for the time being, men living in Nottinghamshire never talk to a woman. Ever. It's just too risky. Don't do it. But what about all the sane women out there? You know, the more than 90% in the UK that aren't feminists. What do you think about these new misogyny hate crime laws? And for that matter, any of my female subscribers, what are your thoughts? Are you being harassed on a daily basis by misogynistic men? Please leave a comment and let me know what you think. And let's try and keep the misogyny to a minimum in the comments. After all, you might get locked up for it.